Have you ever had an idea that everyone around you just dismissed? Maybe your family, your friends, they just looked at you and said, "That's it? That's too simple." Well, what if I told you that one of the biggest breakthroughs in a certain field started exactly that way? This is a story about trusting your gut, even when the people closest to you think you're crazy. And it ends with a phone call from Harvard. Let's rewind a bit. I was deep into my research, spending countless hours in the lab, buried under stacks of academic papers. I was chasing a specific problem, a puzzle that had stumped researchers for years. The conventional wisdom was that the solution had to be incredibly complex, involving layers upon layers of intricate theories and high-tech equipment. Everyone was digging deeper, looking for a more complicated answer. But the more I dug, the more I felt like everyone was looking in the wrong direction. It was like trying to open a door by building a complex lockpicking machine when the key was just sitting on the doormat. An idea started to form in my mind. It was an elegant solution, a simple one, almost too simple. It went against everything the established literature suggested. It felt intuitive, almost obvious, but it contradicted the complex models everyone else was building. I remember the day I first tried to explain it to my family. We were all gathered for a weekend dinner, and they asked how my work was going. I was excited. I thought, this is it. I'll finally be able to explain what I do in a way they can understand. So I laid it all out, my simple, elegant theory. The reaction was underwhelming. There was a lot of polite nodding. My uncle, a very practical man, finally said, "So all that work, all that time, and that's the answer? It just seems too simple for all that university stuff." My cousin chimed in, "Yeah, I thought you were doing, rocket science or something." They weren't being mean, not at all. They just couldn't reconcile the years of study and the prestige of academia with an idea that sounded like common sense. In their minds, a problem that smart people had been working on for decades must have an equally complex solution. My simple idea felt, to them, like I hadn't tried hard enough. It was a bit demoralizing. I won't lie. Doubts started to creep in. Was I just being naive? Was I missing something fundamental that everyone else could see? These are the people who have known me my whole life. If they didn't get it, maybe I was just plain wrong. For a few weeks, their words echoed in my head. Too simple for academia. Every time I went back to my data, that phrase was there. I started to second-guess everything. I tried to build more complex models, to add unnecessary variables just to make my work look more academic, more like what was expected. But it felt wrong. It felt dishonest. My data, the raw, unfiltered results from my experiments, kept pointing back to that one simple truth. The numbers didn't lie. Every test I ran, every simulation I performed, it all validated my initial, simple hypothesis. So I made a decision. I was going to trust the data. I was going to trust my intuition. I put my head down and focused. I ignored the whispers of self-doubt and the well-meaning but misguided skepticism of my family. I wrote my paper. I didn't try to dress it up. I presented the idea in its most direct and simple form, supported by pages and pages of irrefutable data. I explained why the complex models were flawed, why everyone had been overthinking the problem. It felt like a huge gamble. I was essentially challenging the entire establishment in my field with an idea my own family thought was laughably basic. One submitted the paper to a top-tier journal and prepared for the worst. I expected a swift rejection, a peer review tearing my simplistic idea to shreds. The waiting was agony. Weeks turned into a month. I tried to distract myself with other projects, but my mind kept coming back to it. Every email notification made my heart jump. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, my phone rang. The caller ID was a number I didn't recognize, from an area code in Massachusetts. I almost ignored it, thinking it was a spam call, but something made me answer. "Hello," I said. The voice on the other end was calm and professional. "Hello, am I speaking with?" And he said my name. Yes, this is me. My name is Dr. Alistair Finch, the voice said. I'm the director of research at the Harvard Institute for Advanced Studies. My heart stopped. The Harvard Institute for Advanced Studies? That's like the Mount Olympus of my field? It's where legends work. I couldn't even form a coherent thought. Why on earth would their director of research be calling me? I was just a mid-level researcher with a controversial, unpublished paper. He continued. A colleague of mine on the review board for the journal forwarded me a preprint of your upcoming paper. I have to say, it's one of the most remarkable things I've read in the last decade. I was speechless. I think I managed to stammer out a thank you. He chuckled. No, thank you. You've managed to cut through years of noise and complexity. My entire team and I have been wrestling with this problem, and we've been building these ridiculously convoluted models. We were completely stuck. Then your paper comes along, and it's so elegant, so simple. The answer was right in front of us the whole time, and we couldn't see it. He went on to say that his lab had spent the last 2 weeks replicating my experiments, and my results held up perfectly. They were already reorienting their entire research program based on my simple idea. He wanted to know if I'd be interested in flying out to Harvard to give a talk and discuss a potential collaboration with Harvard. After I hung up the phone, I just sat there in stunned silence for a good 10 minutes. Then I started laughing. It was a full, genuine, can't stop laughing kind of laugh. All the doubt, all the insecurity, it just washed away. My family, with their loving, well-intentioned skepticism, had said my idea was too simple for academia. And now, the director of research at one of the world's most prestigious academic institutions had just called it remarkable and elegant for that exact same reason. The next family dinner was interesting. I didn't say anything at first. Eventually, my uncle asked again. So, any luck with that? Simple idea of yours? I just smiled. Funny you should ask, I said. Harvard called. You could have heard a pin drop. The looks on their faces were priceless. It was a mix of shock, confusion, and immense pride. I explained the call, the validation, the invitation, and for the first time, they saw it. They understood that simplicity isn't the opposite of genius. Sometimes, it's the very definition of it. That experience taught me one of the most valuable lessons of my life. Don't be afraid of simplicity. In a world that often rewards complexity and jargon, having the courage to present a clear, simple solution is a superpower. True innovation isn't about making things more complicated. It's about finding the elegant, underlying truth and having the conviction to share it, even if no one else gets it at first. So if you have an idea, a passion, a project that feels right to you, but others dismiss it as too simple, don't let that discourage you. Trust your gut. Trust your data. You never know. Your next phone call might just be from Harvard. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, I'd love it if you hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a too simple idea that turned out to be a winner. I'd love to hear about it. See you in the next one.